Today's question comes from Kelly in Ohio. I'm 23 and about a year out of ministry school with no school debt since I worked 4 jobs and cash flowed everything, so I'm totally debt-free. Way to go, Kelly. I work at a professional screen printing and embroidery shop and volunteer for ministry, making $20 an hour. I work 45 hours a week at the shop, and after taxes, I'm at about $36,000 a year. This is the most I've ever made, but when I listen to the show, I'm often confused at what y'all say is a good income. To me, this is good income since I'm able to save $1,100 a month towards a down payment on a house. What are your thoughts? Do I need to be worried about getting another job, or is it about how I'm budgeting? All right, a lot of questions here. First thing that comes to mind is, why do we go to ministry school? If we go to ministry school and we've changed our mind, fine with that. But if we went to ministry school to be in a ministry, I'd want to know what the path is to ministry. And then once you get into ministry, it depends on what you're doing, because people don't go into ministry to make money, at least the people that are actually about ministry. So the question about good income, I think it's a tad bit relative. But if you look at the income scale in the United States, 36,000 is obviously on the low side. But I love your discipline that you actually have a budget, and that on that income, because you have no debt and you're living on less than you make, look, you're saving some pretty good money there. So I don't think you need to be worried about getting another job. No, but the answer to that is, what job do I go to next? Because I doubt that you want to be in the screen printing and embroidery business for the rest of your life. So if I was sitting with you, I'd say, what's our long-term plan, or what are a couple options that we are considering for the long term? And what I'm talking about there are destinations. And once we have an idea on some destinations, we can start to choose direction. Direction's always more important than destination, because the destination tends to change, but direction will get us going and making progress. So you're doing a great job on budgeting. And as you increase your income with the way you budget, the more you save, the more you can invest.
Yeah, that's the proper answer to your question. Also hidden in your question was, you didn't like it that we said 36,000 wasn't a good income. Yeah, good income is not a moral statement.
Right.
Good income is relative to the average household income in America, which is 78,000 right now. And so if you make 36 as a single person just out of school, you are at considerably less than the average, which would also make up the average, and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. You're not a bad person. You're not a horrible income earner. You're not lazy. None of those are judgments that are said when we say good income. All we're saying is, relative to the average, yours is low. But somebody's got to make up the average. So the question is, do you want it to be you? And so, you start thinking about where you want to be in 10 years. If you're just out of school, let's call you 23. What do you want the 33-year-old version of you to look like? Detail it out. Ken just told you to determine the direction, the destination, and then let's move towards that, rather than landing and being satisfied and say, well, I got margins, so I call this a good income, even if you all don't. Well, our portion is not that you can't live on it. I think you're doing a great job. You're amazing. You're doing a great job with your budgeting. But your income is below average. That's another way of saying it.
It's exactly
rather than saying a good income. But so when someone calls us and says they make, $160,000, that's double the national average. And so that, by definition, is a good income. It's above average, way above average. And so these days, when you make 6 figures, you're above average. In the old days, when you made 6 figures, you were called rich. But nowadays, you just can buy Alpo. But, it's there you go. But that's the thing. I mean, so, because Alpo, have you seen the prices? No, I'm kidding. But so the thing is, Kelly, that you are doing a good job, and you're not spiritually or psychologically wrong to be satisfied right now with where you are. However, as a person that tells you, we want to be, anything that's not growing is dying. So let's be something that's growing. Let's be aiming at something and have a destination. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by Zander Insurance. Compare rates from top term life insurance companies in seconds at Zander.com.
I've been following your principles since I was a teenager, about 18, 19. Your advice on living debt-free and investing has helped me build a $5 million net worth at 26.
Way to
But
go.
Wow.
Thank you. I have a big question, and I'm really confused on what's next. So I made my first $1 million at 22. I invested all my profits I made. I still live in my mom's living room, and I eat McDonald's and Chipotle every single day, which isn't the best. But my question is, what's the meaning of life when the money game feels solved? Is it about starting a family or buying the dream home that I've been looking at for the past 8 years, or is it something deeper?
Oh, good for you. How old did you say you are? 25?
26.
26. Cool. I appreciate you calling, dude.
Thank you.
I'll take a stab at it. Number one, $5 million, the money game's not solved. Okay? You can screw this up in about 20 minutes, have nothing. I only recommend term life insurance because it's simple, affordable coverage. And you should get it only from Xander Insurance because they work for you, not the insurance companies. Xander compares all the top term plans to save you money so you don't get ripped off with insurance that they market like a so-called investment. Term from Xander is the only life insurance I would get for my family. It's all I've ever bought and all I've ever recommended. Go to Xander.com or call 800-356-4282. You can screw this up in about 20 minutes, have nothing. I had $4 million worth of real estate when I was 26, and I went completely bankrupt by the time I was 30. So you can screw this up. It's not over. But you have done a wonderful job. Congratulations. So, I mean, if you got $500 million, we'll talk about slowing down. But $5 million, no, you're not there yet. But what you're figuring out is that just stacking cash doesn't have meaning, and I'll go along with that for sure. Well done. And you've done a wonderful job of stacking cash. You're amazing. Congratulations, sir. But what we figured out a long time ago, I met God on the way up. I got to know him on the way down when I lost everything, Samuel. And what I've learned as a person of faith is that true joy comes through serving, not through getting. Giving, not getting. Adding value, not taking value. And so I think you'll have a level of happiness when you just go get you an apartment and a better diet.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, really. I mean, like by the end of the week, I want you in an apartment. You need to get out of your mother's living room. You're 26 years old. You got $5 million. What the flip are you doing at home? Go be a man.
Here's the thing is that I bought a quadplex in L.A. last year, but it's fully owner occupied, so I couldn't. That was.
Well, that's fine. Go get an apartment. I didn't say you had to move into that.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I am right.
The whole reason why I've been working is I just want this house that I've been looking at for years, and that's what I'm.
Yeah, but when you get that, it's going to have the same exact feeling. It's just a stupid house. Every time you get a nice thing, there's a better one. And some goober on the internet will show it to you.
The algorithm on your social media feed will go, man, you should own 20 properties by the time you're 26. And so the goalpost is always going to keep moving until you decide.
I want you to save up for that house, too. I don't mind that. But, dude, I don't know what the flip you're doing to make money, but you're doing a great job of handling the money. But what you're telling me is that all of your effort and energy and psychology and spirituality has been aimed at one target, and that's money. And that's a pretty stupid target. It's a good target, but it's not the all-encompassing target. So go have a life, too. I mean, I want you to go enjoy some meals with a beautiful woman called a date, and go get you an apartment and like a life. Have you got a car?
Yeah, I have.
What is it?
Different. Yeah, so me and my girlfriend have been together since middle school, and we've done all the.
Why is she hanging out with you when you still live in your mother's living room?
I mean, she tells me the same thing. I'm not sure. Actually, I hear it all the time. It's like, man,
I love you, man. You're awesome. You are a great guy. You're amazing. Thank you so much for calling. Hey, man, really, go invest some of this in having a quality life, not just in investments.
You got a flat tire right now. You got the money part down. Let's focus on spiritual growth, physical health, social relationships, family. That's what's going to give you a lot more purpose on top of doing what Dave said and giving and serving.
I was just a little bit younger than you when I landed in a good church. Changed my life. It taught me how to serve, and there's more joy in serving and giving than there is in taking and adding and stacking cash. Go stack you some cash, but go have a life too, my man. It's time. Today's the day. Move out now. Like with this week, Friday. That's your deadline. This is The Ramsey Show. If anyone depends on your income, you need affordable term life. Never cash value insurance. Visit Xander.com today for quotes. If those of you that are a little bit new don't know what that means, around here we've been saying for about 20 years, if you will live like no one else later, you can live and give like no one else. They pay a price to win. You don't win if you don't pay a price. You know that, right? The great motivator Les Brown says people change their lives when they finally say, I've had it. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I've had it. Things are changing. That's the beginning. And then you pay a price. No one accidentally wins at anything. If you meet an old person who's been married for 53 years and you ask them how to be married, they always tell you, oh, son, you got to work at it. Sometimes she's not that lovable. That's what they'll tell you every time. None of them go, oh, it's Skittles and rainbows and unicorns, and it's all easy, and it's no trouble, and it's icing on the cake all the time. If they say that, they're lying. And anybody who's been married more than 10 minutes knows that. Now, I'm not saying marriage is horrible. It's not. I've got a wonderful marriage. I'm glad I'm married. I have a great wife. 37 years we've been going. So, I mean, this is all right. But the point is that anything you're going to win at, you're going to work at. No, you see these people with these great bodies. I mean, physical condition, unbelievable. They got an 8-pack. You know, they don't have a 6-pack. They got an 8-pack, man. I mean, they're jammed. You know what I'm talking about? Chiseled. That does not act. They don't accidentally get that. They don't wake up one morning and go, would you look at that? You know, that doesn't happen. No, there's a lot of hours and sweat and a lot of push-ups and push-backs. Push back from the table and push-ups in the gym, right? I mean, there's a price to be paid to win at something. You got to live like no one else, and then you get to look like, live like, and give like no one else. But there's a price to be paid to win. And that's where that live like no one else thing comes from. The Bible says it this way in Hebrews. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but it yields a harvest of righteousness. I did a 6-mile run this morning because I'm trying to get ready for this country music marathon, and I've challenged half marathon. I don't do marathons. I challenged my whole team to do it. There's 700 of us, and I'm trying to get at least half of them to do it. I got 275 to do it so far. I need to get another 75 to get us up to 350. I want 350 Ramsey runners in this race. There's 35,000 people, so we will disappear into that crowd. But I've run about 15 half marathons in my life, and I haven't run one in 5 years. I did 6 miles this morning. It was ugly. It was ugly. It was nasty. I mean, Dave waddling down the sidewalk, calling it running. Ugh, it was ugly. My times are awful. I hurt. It's awful. But I got all the way. It's not the race until April 28th, so I still got 10 weeks or whatever. I'll make it. It's all good. I'll get there. I did 6 this morning, and I'll be back up. You know, didn't take me long to get back up to 6. But, no discipline seems pleasant at the time. But it yields a harvest of righteousness. You got to live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. Very few people wake up and say, how did I become a millionaire? I have no idea. Now, when I talk to these millionaires on the Millionaire Theme Hour, they can tell you exactly what they did. Did you use debt? No. Did you inherit it? No. What'd you do? I worked my butt off for 20 years, and I saved and invested in my 401k, and I got my house paid off. That's what they usually tell me right there. If you listen to these Millionaire Theme Hours, that's what they say over and over and over again. What was your GPA? 3.0. You mean you're not a genius? No, I'm bright, but I'm not a genius. This is what they tell me all the time. Very steady, methodical process, and you become a millionaire. Live like no one else, so later you can live and give like no one else. Drive a car that no one else would drive, so that later you can drive a car that no one else can drive. Oh, it's fun. It's fun. I'm a boy. I like cars. I got me some cars. But I tell you what, when we were broke, you know what I drove? A guy loaned me a 1978 Cadillac with 478,000 actual miles on it. And the predominant color on this puppy was Bondo. The vinyl roof across the top was torn loose, and when I drove it, it filled up with air. It looked like a parachute with Bondo hanging off of it. I'm driving that thing down the road. The cops are following me, wondering what I'm doing in this end of town in that car. What are you doing over here, son? Well, I live over here. No, let me see your address. Yeah. Be driving that car. I mean, this is a $100 car, man. And it wasn't even mine. It was loaned to me. Man, I drove that car for 10 years, one 3-month period. Felt like 10 years. It was only 3 months. I still remember that thing, man. The Blue Goose, man. It was a blessing because I'd have been walking if I didn't have that. It smoked. It smoked like your mother's chimney, man. I mean, it smoked, you know. It was unbelievable. Filled up with smoke, looked like Cheech and Chong right along there, you know. I mean, it's unbelievable. I drove that car because I was never going to borrow money again. You know, I saved during that 3 months. We saved $1,000, and I bought a $1,000 car. I thought I was rich. I'm not borrowing money anymore, ever. I'm going to live like no one else, so later can live like no one else. I drove that $1,000 car for about a year, and we bought a $3,000 car, cash. We drove it for about 4 months, and I totaled it, got $4,000 for it. Had saved a little bit of money and bought a $6,000 car. You know what I drive now? Anything I want. And if you don't like it, you can kiss my butt. I paid a price to get here. Look, my cars are a very, very small percentage of my income and a very small percentage of what we give to ministries and to charities every year. And if you don't like the fact I've got a nice car, you can kiss my butt. I paid a price to get there. Live like no one else. Later, you can live and give like no one else. We travel. I'd stay in the Quality Inn. There were roaches in there doing ninja moves. I don't stay in places like that now, man. I don't stay in places like that. Well, you're a snob. No, I'm not. I got the dadgum money. I don't have to put up with that crap. Go in someplace and... Man. I don't eat at the Golden Corral, y'all. I'm just telling you. But we ate at Sharon's restaurant for a long time. Sharon's really good with leftovers, I'll tell you that. We paid a price to win. You'll pay a price to win. Live like no one else. Check out this thing on YouTube, y'all. This is how it's done. There's no shortcut to any place that's worth going. You can do this. You live like no one else. Later, you can live and give like no one else. Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
We actually were sold a home illegally, and we are wondering if we should claim bankruptcy.
Tell us a little bit more. Someone sold you a house that they were not legally allowed to sell you? What happened?
So we bought the home in April of 2023, and we wanted to get some things done like fencing and encapsulate the crawl space underneath. And we learned that when we went to go get the property surveyed for the fencing, that the property didn't exist. And so there were no permits. There's no CO on the house. And
what do you mean the property didn't exist?
They told us the property didn't exist in the county. There was no house that was on that property.
I'm confused. You bought a house sight unseen?
No, we bought the house. We saw the house. The county had no idea the house was built.
Oh, so the house was illegally built on that land in the first place with no permits, and then that person sold it to you. How did you even go through the closing process? Was it just done through the seller?
No, it was done through all of the bells and whistles that you're supposed to do with inspectors and real estate agents and lenders and everything. And they still sold it to us.
I mean, aren't there titles to be cleared? I mean, I'm just so confused how nobody caught this.
So the lenders were in the bylaws of our contract. They were supposed to get the CO and obtain it 5 days after closing, and they never did. And then we didn't find out about all of that. This is our first home. We were first-time home buyers, so we learned a lot in this process.
What'd you pay for it?
$259.
And you got a loan on that?
Yes, it's a USDA loan.
Okay, how much was the loan for?
It was for $259.
So you put nothing down with the USDA loan?
No, we did put down $12,000.
Okay.
So why are you having to file bankruptcy? I get what we just heard. I'm now understanding that, but it feels like a lot of people dropped the ball, and it was before you. And so this has got to shake out somehow. So what have you done so far? What do you know? What do you not know?
So basically, we have a lawyer on it now. We tried to get help without a lawyer and tried to talk to the builder and gave him all the documents and tried to actually get him to agree to buy back the house. He obviously did not agree to that. In the process of all of this, the house is actually, it was creating more mold. The floors are sinking. The walls are leaning. We're starting to see
Did you get an inspection?
We did, yes.
And they caught none of this?
They caught none of it.
This is a scam.
Yeah, it was
Was the
terrible.
inspector friends with the builder?
We're not sure, but it seems like it.
So this wasn't a resale, somebody else living in it. This was a builder built this essentially as a spec house on that property.
As a brand new home. He said it was a brand new build.
Oh,
and he actually
do you have
built
a good,
on a 1950s foundation.
Oh, of course. Do you have a good lawyer?
We're not sure. At this point, nothing has happened, and
No. Hold on a second. Okay, now your lawyer's dragging this out.
Well, the lawyer's not dragging it out, but there's not really a lot of motion happening, and we just keep paying him.
Mary, it is time for you to get real seriously mad and get going with it. Fire the lawyer now. You are getting jerked around like I've never even, I can't remember the last time I heard a story like this, and I feel bad for you, but you are going to have to stand up and fight. So the builder screwed you, the inspector screwed you, sounds like your lawyer is screwing you over, and you are the common denominator in this. And I hate that this is happening, but I got to tell you, George, if I were in this situation, I promise you I'd have the builder begging for mercy because he is liable. The inspector is liable, and your lawyer is a scumbag. I could go take care of this in court, and I could get a law degree out of a Fruit Loops box and take care of this situation. Am I right, George? Am I missing anything?
No, this is the Ken Coleman Esquire energy you need,
I'm
Mary.
more pissed off than you are, Mary. This is America.
I'd be taking that builder to the cleaners with a scary attorney right now.
I'd go to the local news. They love this crap.
We tried the local news. They told us it was a legal issue.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
Mary, all you do is make excuses for why you're getting abused.
Okay, so what's the ramifications here of you living in a home that has no record? Are they going to evict you? I assume
you can't even live in it.
No, we can't live in it, so we actually don't live in it.
Are you renting or staying with family? Okay. So you're renting right now, but you still make payments. Have you talked to the lender that they basically have bad collateral here?
Yes, they said they didn't care.
They don't care. You still owe us the payment every single month.
Yes.
And you can't sell it. I think your only way out of this, and again, I'm not an attorney. This is for your attorney to deal with. You got to sue this builder to get your money back.
Get an attorney.
Which is what we're trying to do.
Get rid of your current attorney.
But do not file bankruptcy. That's not the solution here. The solution is to take this builder to court, sue them, potentially get the inspector involved because they clearly can't do their job well, and then collect on whatever the settlement is. I wish I had better news. I mean, we have no power in this, but I'm going to tell you, don't do anything drastic like bankruptcy at this point. You're just going to have to float the payment until this gets solved, which would light a fire under me.
I wouldn't even float the payment. I'd be sitting in the banker's office, the lender, going, "I'm not paying you a cent because all of you are going down." But after I got a lawyer who had a brain and who wasn't going to take advantage of you guys.
Yeah, I think A1, find a new attorney.
New attorney with a backbone, somebody who wants to destroy somebody. Because this is wrong.
What a weird situation.
Oh my gosh. I got a headache.
Thanks for sharing, Mary. I hope it works out for you guys.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Brought to you by CHM, a biblically based alternative to health insurance. Learn more at chministries.org/budget.
My question is, we recently found out through my sister-in-law, my husband and I, that there is inheritance money we did not know existed through my husband's parents, who got it from his grandma. And he's one of 9 siblings, and all of them have used, that we know of, have used that inheritance money for paying for grad school. And we did not know this was available. We paid our way through grad school, and my husband graduated about 3 years ago. And we are in between baby steps 3 and 4, trying to save up for a house. And so we feel a little, I don't know.
No, you feel a lot. Whatever you feel, it's a lot.
Wait, are you in the will and it just wasn't distributed to you, or were you not in the will to get it?
We're not sure. It just slipped through my sister-in-law this past weekend on a family trip that grandma's inheritance money paid for her husband, my husband's brother,
Right.
to go through grad school. And we asked, is this the same for all other 8 siblings? And she said, yeah, you guys didn't know? I'm
Interesting.
like, no, we paid our way through grad school.
Who's
So
the executor?
we're just
Who's in charge of it?
probably, I would guess, my father-in-law.
Okay. Have you gone to him? Or, well, not you, but has your husband, because I feel like this is his battle, by the way.
Right.
Has he gone to the grandfather and said,
No, to his dad.
Yeah, to his dad, and said, did I miss something? And here's the thing, and can hold me back, but you can't go in entitled. You just have to ask, you be curious. Hey, I was on a trip and this was what I found out. I don't know, but it sounded like it was for everybody. And if it is, I wonder if we're overlooked in some way. Can you give me more information?
Yeah, I guess that was part of my question. We have not approached him yet, or my husband hasn't, because I don't want to come across as, needy or...
Well, remember, you don't need to be
selfish.
involved in this.
Yeah.
This is not your deal. Your husband, now, if you got to give him a pep talk and fire him up and let him borrow some of your backbone, that's one thing.
Yeah, but you don't talk,
But
you
you're
don't
not
say
involved.
anything to the in-laws on this.
Okay.
Because is
Okay.
it possible that the sister-in-law doesn't know what she's talking about?
It's possible. I guess that's part of the issue is they're quite a bit younger than us, and they own 2 properties, and we are like...
No, I get all
doing
this.
everything
First of
we
all, I
can
don't...
to save up for a house.
Wait a second. I detect something, and I'm not trying to call you out, but I detect an air of I'm not going to say jealousy, but I detect an air of we should have what they have, or they shouldn't have. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but
Yeah.
so let's talk about this then. Let's pretend that you said, hey, we're not in the will. What gives? Like, what if your husband talks to the dad and it's like, sorry, yeah, you weren't a part of this. What then would your attitude be towards it?
I think I'd be okay with that.
Okay.
No, you wouldn't. You would not be okay
I think-
with being your husband being the only sibling who didn't get some of this inheritance.
I mean, you'd at least have questions, right?
I would have questions, but I honestly don't think I wouldn't ask any further.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just want to call this out. I know you're going another angle.
No, you call it out, Ken.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I think she kind of admitted to it. I couldn't hear her, but Michaela is it's very natural for you to feel this way because your husband feels though he might be wronged. And when your husband or spouse, well, this goes both ways, gets wronged, we, the spouse,
we're on their side.
We just really get affected. So all of this is very normal. Glad you called us. We've already told you what we think, but your husband needs to sit with Dad and soon. And just ask questions. This is what my wife was told. Is this true? He gets to the bottom of it, and then you guys will have to deal with whatever that is. But make no mistake about it. Her comment about the younger sibling and what they have.
That was telling.
It's telling, but it's also, it's all coming from this one issue.
It is, and I think that when you're in baby step 2.
We could use it more than them. That's what this is.
Yes. That's what I'm getting at.
And
when
that's
you're
natural.
in a tough spot, you're looking around and you're just kind of looking for anything you can hold to. I get it. Yeah, I wasn't saying that in a way to be definitely not ugly towards you, but it's worth examining and going, okay, what's my, like to your point, Ken, what's my true feelings here? And it's okay to have feelings. We then just have to make sure our response is the right way.
And that's all I'm saying, Michaela. I want you to feel okay to be angry.
Yeah.
Because if this is true, you and your husband have every right to be angry.
Ken, I've told you the story before. When Sam and I got married, his grandfather, there were stipulations on the will. And he's allowed to make those stipulations because it was his money, right? And so the stipulation was, you got to marry someone else Jewish. And guess what? Jade Warshaw is not.
Really?
Yeah. Did you not know? What gave it away? No, I'm just kidding. But that was part of it.
Did he uphold that? Did grandfather?
No, he did not get the money. And so
I mean, he stuck to his guns. The grandfather did.
Well, the grandfather passed away. So what ended up happening later on?
Oh, that's right.
Later
it's in
on,
the will.
Yeah, it's in the will. But later on, his wife at the time said, "I really like Jade, and we're gonna make this happen."
And she amended it.
It got amended, and not only for me, but the other cousins who decided not to go that route. Yeah.
Hey, cheers to her, by the way.
I don't know if it was right. Dave might be like, no, keep it the way, the wishes are the wishes. But
wait a second. I don't know what Dave would say, but I'm not Dave. And I got a strong opinion on that.
But
if the grandfather leaves the money to his wife, yes, he had explicit instructions, but at the end of the day, he left it to her. It's now hers.
She was very solid on the fact that she said if he had met you, he would have changed his mind. That's what she said to me.
I think she's right. But my point is, it's now her money.
Yeah.
She gets to decide what she's going to do.
That's facts.
Because he passed it to her.
That's facts. Yeah. Yeah. So I can understand, to your point, I can understand the feeling of having emotions around the thing. Tough stuff. It's not easy.
Yeah. But in this case, and this is what I don't like for her, I don't like that sister-in-law dropped that.
Yeah.
On vacation.
Do you think there was a little intent behind it? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know, and I don't want to go that route because I don't think that's helpful to Michaela. What I am saying is I would immediately go into the father if I'm her husband, and because we don't know if sister-in-law knows what's going on with the 9 other siblings.
You know what? It's very
the
possible.
8 other siblings.
Unless she knows of a reason he could have been withheld, which we didn't ask her.
Doesn't make sense to me.
It's very possible he just got overlooked. Like
I don't buy that.
Whoever the executor is, you don't buy it.
Well, now that you say that, I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Stacy, because we had 3 under the age of 3. That's kind of happened quickly for us.
Yeah, it did.
And I remember going, as they got older, going, I'm glad we didn't have more than 3. I don't understand how parents who have 6 and 7
Keeping
and 8
track.
and 9, how do they do it? Now, I can see maybe this happened. Maybe there's some money just sitting over there waiting to be collected.
Maybe he's the middle child.
I don't think so, though.
CHM isn't health insurance. It's a health cost-sharing ministry. Check it out for yourself at chministries.org/budget.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I am a stay-at-home mom of 2 young kids, and my husband is a business owner. I've been living with my head in the sand for the last couple of years as he's managed the money, and I've just recently discovered how poorly he's been doing that. We are in a world of debt right now and trying to find a path out of it.
Okay. So what caused you to suddenly become aware?
He called me one day and said, I'm going to tell you before you get home to see the mail today, but we got a foreclosure notice on our house,
Oh my gosh.
which was due to a second mortgage he took out on our house in order to purchase a warehouse for his business. I naively thought, okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to cash out one of my 401ks, pay that off, get the house out of foreclosure, and then we're going to move forward and do everything right from here on out. That was very naive. As I started to dig deeper, I realized the trouble that the business was in. He has a huge overhead and is not making enough to sustain that.
How old are you guys?
I'm 39. He's 42.
How long you been married?
6 years.
When was the phone call on the foreclosure notice to you?
Well, on the house or on?
Now, when
on the
did he
house,
call you? What day? How long
Oh.
ago did he call you and say?
Oh, this was back in May.
May. Okay, so you've been
Mm-hmm.
gathering more information, and you all have been having more discussions for a couple of months now.
Correct.
Okay, all right. So, what is he now saying?
He has a very motivated mindset, and he feels like he just needs to keep pushing forward with the business, and things are going to turn around any day, any week, and he's going to be able to fix all of this. Meanwhile, it feels as if things are not getting better. Things seem to be getting worse. Twice this month, he's not been able to make payroll for the employees. I've found out about some IRS debt, some property tax that's delinquent.
So why are you? If once you discovered one thing, why do you not have a conversation when the two of you sit down and he tells you everything? Why are you having to continue to pull the thread on the sweater?
Well, eventually he did. Once
Okay.
I found out about the
All right,
IRS
so
debt,
we're all on the
What's the
same
total?
page today.
What's the total debt, Katie?
including mortgages,
Sure. Yeah.
about $4.5 million.
Okay, and how much is the mortgage on your home?
Our mortgage is, we owe $480 on the house, plus the second mortgage, which is $400, so about $880.
Okay, what's the house worth? What's the house worth?
Probably 1.1.
Okay, what's the mortgage on the warehouse? Is there one?
The mortgage on the yes, there is. The mortgage on the warehouse, we owe about 3.3 on it, and the monthly payment on that is about $26,000.
And what's it worth?
It's worth 4.1, 4.2.
Okay, is it on the market for sale?
Yes, I sat down with our
Good. It's
broker.
on. Okay, so that's on
earlier
the
this
market. Is your
week,
home
and
on the market for sale?
No.
Okay, and so what other debt is there other than these two?
There's credit card debt, which totals about $120,000. There's a personal loan from my parents, which is $115,000. There is the property tax, which is about $100,000. There are our ridiculous cars, which are $140,000.
Are they on the market for sale?
No.
They need to be today.
Okay.
Okay. Now, is he, the thing about business is this, okay? You do have to be an optimist to operate a business. And to operate a business in California, you have to be an unbelievable optimist with the taxes and the regulations and the crap you all face, okay? It's unbelievable. So he has to be an optimist or he's dead in the water. So we have to have that category we can put him in. That's a good thing. But what you need to hear, and I don't know the answer to this, is you need to hear him articulate a detailed tactical strategy, a strategy overall, but the tactical implementation of what items are we doing to make this thing profitable? Because all you're describing to me are signs of death of the business. He has some reason, hopefully logically, that there's a reason for life. in the business. I don't know what that is. I'm not hearing his part of that story. It is possible that he's got four things that if three of the four things levers flip, that he can turn the business around. Okay. But the poor management and continuing to go further into debt is a pattern of, I think I can out-earn my stupidity. And that's what you need to see him stop doing, because it's driving you nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So the two of you need to sit down and, it's okay for you to, quote, require of him, for your peace of mind as his wife, that he show you what the clear path is and exactly what the steps are to get out. Not just, if I grit my teeth, it's going to get better. Because if I grit my teeth and keep doing the same thing, it ain't going to get better. It's going to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I think a timeline's appropriate too, Katie, because you guys could sit here in this in this cycle forever and ever, and you need an end date, or I would.
Exactly.
I would be like, hey, I will give you X amount to figure this out, but at some point you got to just stop it and go get a job. Like, we have to clean this up.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just.
So Henry Cloud says in his book Necessary Endings that you end something when you lose logical hope that it is going to get any better. Okay? So when do you close a business? You close a business when you have no reason logically to believe it's going to turn around. And you need to see something other than all the death signs. You feel like you're sitting beside the hospice patient hearing all the signs of death coming. And yet it's not a hospice patient, maybe. Maybe it's just a patient that's got the flu. But that's how you're feeling because you don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Selling the warehouse is going to be a big lick. That's going to be really helpful. Getting rid of your cars is really helpful. And, we got to get back to scorched earth. We got to get this thing right-sized to where we can make payroll and we see a path, a light at the end of the tunnel that's not an oncoming train. The two of you need to find that together.
And if you don't see it, Katie, you speak up too, because so far
time.
the pattern's not been here. IRS stuff, I mean, it's not looking good.
No, he has poorly managed it, that's for sure. But if there is a clear path, but otherwise we need to talk about how we're going to sell everything off and shut it down. So you're right on track, and trust your gut. You've got good gut instincts on this. This is the Ramsey Show. Sometimes our segments aren't long enough to get into everything. Obviously, the lady with $4.5 million worth of debt, a husband, the business is failing. She didn't know anything about it because she was not involved until a few months ago, and now she's trying to find her way through that, and giving her a quick answer on that's very difficult. But there's some principles that Rachel gets to talk about, and I get to talk about a lot, that weave into a situation like that. By the way, the irony of that call is it's almost exactly where we were, only I wasn't 42, I was 28. I had $4 million worth of debt. Rachel was a brand new baby when we hit bottom, but it took 2.5 years of fighting for us to go all the way to the bottom, to bankruptcy. So by the time I filed bankruptcy was the year she was born. But Sharon was a full-time mom with Rachel's older sister and had absolutely zero knowledge of anything going on, not because I was deceiving her. I just didn't ask, nor did I tell. And neither did she ask. She just classic, whatever you want to do, honey, and just assumed I had a clue. I thought I had a clue, and I was wrecking a business. And so there's a couple of things that go with this, principles for you guys to use out there that'll keep you from finding yourself in a situation. They may be so far gone, they don't make it out of that. They may be bankrupt. They may lose everything. We did because we were so far in. So principle number one is, men in particular, but ladies too, when you are running a business, it does not give you relational or wisdom permission to keep that all the other side of some kind of wall. Now, you don't need to come home and whine every night to your spouse about everything being hard. Nobody wants to hear that. But your spouse needs to be involved in all major decisions that affect the household, and that includes the running of the business. Period. And here's why. Proverbs says, "Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, and he will have no lack of gain." And so while my sweet little wife is at home with a little baby, and she's a full-time mom with a home ec degree. She is academically not qualified to speak into the operation of my business. But the Bible says that if I listen to the wisdom of my virtuous wife, I will have no lack of gain. The way Sharon says it is, I may not understand, but I have common sense. And she throws that around like, and she does have common sense. She has wisdom. And so after I went broke and I learned that proverb, I no longer make major financial decisions, major decisions of any kind, without Sharon and I talking it through and being in agreement. Now, sometimes we argue about it. Sometimes she's wrong. Sometimes she's right, and I hear something I never heard before. And but I don't, we don't go and buy a $2 million building and then tell her we did it. We can, but we don't. And so we don't, I don't book. We run our calendars. We run our budgets together. We know where everything that's going on in our time, everything that's going on in our money. And therefore, we make better decisions. And the added benefit is that it absolutely solidifies your marriage against the storms that will come.
Yeah, and being able to, I think, go there with your spouse too is what we talk about so often, is having this knowledge and understanding of who they are. Because usually in those business conversations and or the money conversations, the person and their fears and their, anxiety around this subject over here, or the thoughts of this, or the excitement of that. Like, you get to know your spouse in the middle of it too, right? I mean, like there's all this added benefit to not only having somebody outside the picture looking in with a different perspective, which is so wise and so healthy, but you're doing stuff as a team. And when you're married, that's where a rich marriage comes from, is that you're on the same team and you're talking about it, and you get to know your spouse in the middle of it even more, versus again feeling like, okay, this whole part of our life is over here, and I'm not going to bring you in.
So if you're in the situation where that lady's husband is, you're the husband or the wife, and you're in that situation, you're running a business, as of today, it is now your job to unpack everything that's going on that is of note, anything of size. We don't have to discuss where we buy copier paper, okay? But we are going to talk about the big things that are happening in the business. Here's what's going on. Here's how we're running the business. Here's the things. And we're not going to move the big pieces around the chessboard without talking about it further. If you are the person who is at home or is not in the business, so to speak, it is your job as of today to know what the flip is going on in your own life. You are not a little child. You have to plug in. And if they don't want you to, that's a bad sign. If you're just too lazy to, you don't want to put forth the effort. Oh, he's handling it. I'll let him handle it. That's just laziness. And you're going to make really stupid butt decisions, and you're going to craft a life that you don't like at the end of the story if you don't plug in and make these calls together like two grown-up adults. We're not alike. We look at things differently. Absolutely. Most of the time, opposites attract. Larry Burkett used to say, if two people just alike get married, one of you is unnecessary. Of course, one of you is a spender. Of course, one of you is a saver. Of course, one of you is an abundance, and the other one's a scarcity. Of course. So what? What that means is you're getting good, rounded viewpoints on these major decisions. And you don't reach a point that, I borrowed on our home where our children sleep to buy a warehouse.
Can I say that feels deceitful? Like when you start to muddle the waters, which I know happens a lot in business, but you start to reach over to like putting that in danger. That feels like I don't know why it feels different if it's like, I went and got a warehouse, but my own home, like my home, that feels so personal. I don't like it. That felt deceitful to me.
Well, it's not. Because the arrangement that the arrangement they were operating on is she don't care. He can do whatever he wants. And so he did whatever he wants. And he had no thought that he was going to lose the home. He thinks it's just going to turn around and he's going to out earn his stupidity.
Make all this other money.
He didn't sit down and
it's really sad.
He didn't sit down and go. Now I will tell you this. Having adopted this, we don't do major things without Sharon. It means that I actually have to not only sell myself on the idea of going forward on something, I have to sell her on it. and it makes me critically think through the idea more thoroughly, knowing I've got to get agreement from someone else. I've got to be able to explain it in such a way that it makes sense and get agreement.
That's why we always talk about don't do your money alone. Even if you're single, have somebody, an account, something that you are accountable to, right?
Yep.
A spouse, a friend. Again, if you're single, maybe it's a mentor, like whatever it is, whatever the situation is.
It's hilarious that inside of our own little brains, we can make the dumbest thing.
We're crazy.
We can make the dumbest thing sound smart inside our own little brains. But when you have to speak it and set it out on the table in front of someone that loves you and that cares about your future, as soon as you set it out on the table, sometimes before they say anything, you go, oh, that's dumb. And when that was in my head, it was really smart. But when I put it out there in the daylight, it looks really stupid. And it's almost like that time that you had this problem and you sat down with your friend, and by the time you explained your problem to your friend, you knew the answer. And all that is your brain had to process from simple digits floating around in your brain into verbalized. When you have to turn something into language, your brain is required to go through another higher function of critical thinking skills. So when you turn something from a thought into language and put it in front of someone else, it makes you process the thing you're talking about more thoroughly. That's why you already know the answer before your friend ever says anything. You go, oh, thanks for listening. I now know what to do. And they never said a word. They just look at you like a hoot owl, right? And the same thing's true here. You know, it's when you have to do this with your spouse, it opens up everything.
It's like right before this show, I was telling Dave about my new prepping conspiracy that I heard last night, and he looked at me like a hoot owl, and he just shook his head, and we just went to air. It's good to say it out loud sometimes. He's like, I don't know. I don't know about that conspiracy.
Guess there's one in every family. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
Today's question comes from Jackie in Utah. Buckle up, John. My husband and I are 47 years old, and we're both impulsive spenders.
Heyo.
I recently came across your podcast.
Hold on, can we start right there?
Yeah, that's some self-awareness. I respect that.
Okay. James, I know we got to go through this question, but I just got to start right here.
We'll get there eventually.
We are both impulsive spenders. This is not a diagnostic label. Like, we are both 5'8", right?
Just a fact.
So we can't reach high things on our cabinets. That would be a logical sentence. We are both impulsive spenders is not an empirical fact the way this is laid out. This is actually, my husband and I are 47 years old, and we both act like children.
There it is.
We choose to be emotionally immature with our spending habits. And I haven't read the rest of this. I'm just so sick of the way we have taken adjectives and nouns and created them as identity verbs. Like, we've created them. I'm an impulsive spender. Hey,
what can you do?
What can you do? No! You're an impulsive child. All right. I will not interrupt again unless I have to. Go ahead.
Thank you for that, John. That was a very helpful redefinition. Here we go.
Oh,
I recently came across your podcast, and we're both fired up about getting out of debt. I'm having some real fear and doubt about myself and whether if I'll be able to change my habits and control my spending. Growing up, my family didn't have very much money, so I have always had a scarcity mindset, and I know that's where my impulse spending comes from. My husband isn't as much of a spender as I am. He came from a financially stable home, but they never followed a budget. The person I don't trust to be able to make these financial changes is myself. I've tried to change in the past. I get all fired up about something and start down the road of change, but before long I revert back to old habits. I completely break trust with myself and end up feeling ashamed and defeated. I desperately want to make lasting changes with our finances, but I just don't have any faith in my ability to do this. How do I restore trust in myself?
All right. So first, Jackie, I apologize for interrupting at the very beginning and throwing a temper tantrum because you're calling it out. I am emotionally immature with my money, and I don't know what to do. And I've got a lot of compassion and sympathy for that question. So when somebody says, how do I restore trust in myself? My instant response is always, be trustworthy. Be trustworthy. And so what does that mean? That means I have to begin to create a world where I do what I say I'm going to do. Now, sometimes we we step over dollars to pick up dimes when it comes to stuff like this. So, for instance, I am a person who will always follow follow a budget. How can I not follow a budget? If I spend money that's not in the budget, what do I have to spend money? I have to have my ATM card. I have to have cash. Cool. If I take away my ATM card, if I take away cash, if I get rid of Amazon Prime, then I cannot do those things. Similar, how can I stop drinking? Step one is get rid of the alcohol. Get rid of the environments where there's alcohol. So how do I restore trust in myself? It's not this white knuckle event where you're going to be flexing. I'm going to put in significant hurdles in my way that make it almost impossible to fail when it comes to gaining trust in myself. Like for me, I struggled with getting up and going out to getting in the car, letting the car warm up, driving across town to the gym. So 7 or 8 years ago, I just started slowly piecemealing the gym together in my house. Now it's right there, right? I've taken away all the friction. Now when I say I'm going to work out tomorrow, I just go downstairs and work out. See what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
minimize. And there's been seasons when I gave my wife my ATM card. I was out of control. I was an emotionally immature spender. I gave my wife my ATM card, so I literally couldn't spend. And then I had to sit with that discomfort. What do I want to buy right now? Oh, I don't really want to buy anything. I'm bored. Or I have a scary meeting coming up. Or I don't really want to go do this assignment. Or I have administrative tasks I don't want to do. I had to deal with why I was feeling those things. I didn't have that emotional that little scrolling thing that makes you feel so good. That dopamine. I didn't have that anymore, right? So how do you restore trust? Become trustworthy. What do you think, George?
Yeah, I'm with that. I was just thinking there's this element of kind of making the bad habits more difficult and making the good habits easy. And part of that is I'm taking the apps off my home screen and putting just $every there. So anytime I open my phone, I see $every. It's a reminder. I'm going to put the $every sticker on my debit card so that I'm reminded to go check the app to make sure I have the money and make sure I budget for it. It's things like that you may sound silly, it might seem silly to other people, but if it keeps you on track, if that calendar where you have the red X because you did one more day of budgeting and you tracked it, that's a win. You don't want to break the chain now. That stuff matters psychologically. And so I don't know what that is for our friend Jackie, but she's got to figure out the root of that and where she's stumbling. And if that is Amazon, we're taking out our debit card information, we are deleting it, we are making it difficult, blocking that website on our computer, whatever we have to do in order to get those good habits in place.
I can't stress that enough that we over-intellectualize behavior change sometimes. And sit down with your husband and say, hey, it's really, really important to me that every week we do a budget together. Every Sunday night, can we just put this on the calendar that we don't ever miss this? This is so important to me. It helps me feel safe, and I'm trying to change my life. I want to change our tree. I want to change everything about our world. Will you just have this budget meeting with me on Sundays? Right? What husband's going to say no to that?
And afterwards, we get to watch our favorite show. And we can't do that until we have the budget meeting.
Yes. Or if you want to be more adventurous, then watch a show. But we'll do things together after that, right? But it's about bringing people together. And good for you, Jackie. Good for you. This kind of change is hard, but also, wow. And by the way, changing a scarcity mindset, begin to keep a gratitude journal. Write down 5 things a day that start with, I am grateful for. And begin to tip well. Scarcity mindset cannot be in the presence of. That's right. It withers and dies on its own little thorny vine when you are insanely generous, right? Because then you realize, I gave this guy, I over-tipped this person because they were so wonderful. I gave them their light bill or their water bill for the month, and that means I got to make lunch for the next 2 days. That exchange is almost always worth it, right? Always. So good for you, Jackie. Great question.
Brought to you by the $Every app. Start budgeting for free today.
All right, today's question comes from Adrienne in Georgia. Adrienne writes, my fiance and I are in our 70s. A girl, Adrienne. I love it. And planning on marrying in the next 6 months. Dude, yes. We're gonna end up at the end with no tread left on the tires. Good for you. I've heard your advice on always combining finances as a married couple. However, I'm not sure if that's a reasonable path when both parties have children from previous marriages. What's the best approach here?
Oh, that's a great question.
That is a great question, yes.
Yeah, because, you guys as an entity, as a married couple, you're going to be dealing with finances together. You're going to be paying household bills, like working as a team on all of that. But it always raises an interesting point when there are grown children involved from previous families. And do you suddenly combine the family just because you got married in your 70s and everyone's equal? All of a sudden, you know what I mean? Like all of that. And yeah, and I lean towards keeping it separate still at this stage of life. I mean, in my head, I'm like your immediate family before this marriage was pretty much done. I mean, like you're grown kids, you've done your job.
You've made your life. This is something different.
That's right. Exactly.
This is somebody like, let's just party until the wheels fall off. Like, let's do this together.
Right.
I love that.
Right. So I'm all about combining your incomes at this point, seeing yourselves as one, because you guys could still have 20 great years.
20 more
right?
years.
Yeah.
That's right.
So as much as a team aspect that you can do, I mean, all of my advice would be the same, but I would say things like estate planning, wills, stuff with grown kids. If you want to keep all of that more separate, and his money that he brought into the marriage maybe is divvied up among his kids. I don't know. Like,
well, this is one of the very few times, and again, this matters a lot. If neither of them have anything, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But if either of you or both of you have any sort of wealth or an estate, this is one of the rare times when I would be okay, not only okay, but I would recommend a prenup. And here's why. You're not protecting each other. You're protecting your husband or wife, if one of you passes away, from cousins and kids coming out of the woods that is going to take stuff from you. So it might be that I don't want, if Rachel, if you and I were married and I died, I don't want my kids suing you. Like, I don't want that mess.
Yeah.
So I want both sides to be protected here. But I do think, for the sake of your marriage, whatever money, Social Security coming here, dividends coming here, I think they should go in the same pot.
Yes,
and we're going to make married decisions about bills. We're not just going to be roommates for the next 20 years.
Right.
We're going to be married. So let's do it. Let's do it right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. And that's not just from the technical aspect and the logistics side of it, but there's also an emotional part of this. I mean, Adrian, like when you really do see yourself as one, and this is if you're 70 and getting married or 27 and getting married, there's an emotional connection there that's really beautiful. And I don't want you guys missing out on that, even for the 20 years maybe you guys have together. In the vein of like, well, we're just adults now, and we've done this all ourselves, so we're gonna just keep it separate. I think you guys miss a level of intimacy and connection if you don't combine the income that's coming in now, or Social Security, all of that, like your livelihood and your day-to-day life. Combine all of that financially and work as a team.
And just for like a different picture of this, my wife and I have been married for 21 years. It feels like 1,000 years we've been married, both good and bad. There's a chance they were married that long, or maybe a little bit long, right? That's a long time.
Yes.
So let's do this. Let's do it. We're married. We're going to be married. We're going to be all in. Both feet in the boat. We're not just going to have one foot on land and one foot in the water.
It's good.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I have a question about some family finances. My husband and I started Financial Peace University about a month ago, and in doing so, I uncovered some things about some family traditions with money that his family has that is making me a little bit uncomfortable. Like yesterday morning, he got a text from his mom saying, "Hey, you owe us $100," and that happens quite frequently throughout the year. Probably maybe 5 or 6 times a year. I'm trying to figure out
for what.
So there's a family lake house, and like taxes on the lake house. I think the most recent one was for the tailgate parking spot. Sometimes it's for, if we've spent the weekend with them, it's for food from the weekend, which we don't mind paying for those things, but it's an after the fact type of thing.
Is he one of the owners of the lake house?
No, he is not.
And the tailgate spot, that sounds like a football thing.
Correct.
So somebody purchased the spot, and if you use it, you have to pay back that person. Is that what it is?
Well, we have a different spot. We buy our own spot for the year.
Why would you pay for theirs?
Well, that's my question.
Okay. And why is it you're just now discovering this? How long have you been married?
We celebrated our 3rd anniversary on Tuesday.
Okay.
So how much does this amount to? Is this like $100 a month? Has this happened like twice in the year? What does it amount to?
So for the tailgate spot, it's $100, and that would be for the year. But it just always, it's never something I expect. And
It's always been something that he paid until we combined our finances a month ago. It was something that he just paid for out of his money. And
Got
thank you
you.
to John Deloney, Building a Non-Anxious Life, because it really helped us to get on the same page
Yeah,
with this
that's
stuff.
good. Okay. So when you say to your husband, this makes me uncomfortable, what does he say?
Hey, George here with a quick interruption. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, would your family know where to find your life insurance policy, your will, even your Netflix password? Well, Knockbox solves that. It's a kit that organizes your financial accounts, estate plans, and everything your family would need all in one place. That way, they don't have to hack into your laptop or locate some long-lost thumb drive. So leave them a legacy, not a scavenger hunt with Knockbox. Ramsey fans get the best discount available at knockbox.com/Ramsey. That's knockbox.com/Ramsey.
So when you say to your husband, this makes me uncomfortable, what does he say?
Mm-hmm. So he actually had a conversation with his mom last night saying, no more of this retroactive stuff of you guys spending money and then us paying you back. You need to have a conversation with us up front. And her response was, are you sure you want to do this budget thing?
Okay. That was not the statement. The statement was not about our budget. The statement was, you have to tell us in advance or we're not going to pay you.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
She doesn't get a vote on your budget or your marriage or anything that happens inside your house. She's the mother-in-law. By definition, that means she does not get a vote. If anybody doesn't get a vote, it's her.
Yeah, how does she even
Of all
know-
the people
know
on the
about
planet, she's the one that has the least chance of getting a vote.
Well, right.
I'm serious. I mean, the worst position you can possibly be in is to be the mother-in-law for the son. It is the weakest position on the planet and the most power-hungry.
Okay. And I do realize it's a difference in culture from my family. I was raised by a CPA.
But that's
my
not
parents
the
tried really hard
point.
to
The
live
point
within
is
their
your
means.
husband said to someone outside your home, we will not accept surprise billings anymore. And that's the end of the story, period.
Okay.
And by the way, you did do this right. He talked to her. You don't need to be brought up in this because you'll become the evil girl that took her baby boy away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I learned that from listening to your show for about 2 weeks now. So
Okay, all
thank
right.
you.
So that was very good. Good. I'm glad you caught on to that.
You're doing it right.
And
yeah.
here's the thing. It's okay. I mean, you guys can be gentle about this. You don't need to be harsh about it because it's not a lot of money. It's just an emotional boundary violation.
Right.
And it's just Mom, we don't want to be in a parking spot for tailgating. We have our own. She got, it's the deal. And if we're going to do something in the Ramsey family, we got a lake house. I'm going down there this weekend. Same thing. If we're going to do something, and Sharon, my wife, gets tired of doing all the cooking, so she emails the girls, including the daughter-in-law and the two daughters, and says, whoever's going to be here, y'all need to talk about what you're going to cook, because I'll help you, but I'm not going to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys we're going to figure this out a little bit. And so you're all like grown women and stuff. And so this is, and the girls go, okay, yeah, we'll chip in. And they don't mind doing that. And we talk about it up front. But we don't send them a bill 2 weeks later for catering.
Right. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. What do you think about the taxes on the lake house? I mean, we do.
That's what I wanted to know about
why
that.
would you be obligated to pay taxes on someone else's lake house?
Well, that was my question because it's not, my husband's name is not on the house.
That's why I asked.
That was kind of my question, yeah.
So you can pay the taxes on my lake house if you want. Since you're paying for other people's lake houses, I mean, why not?
Right.
That's about as dumb.
I agree.
When you asked your
husband,
husband, what did he say? What was the reason? What did
Did he make a promise that he would do that?
I don't think so. I think it was just an implication. When they built the house, he was in college, and I think that's just kind of how it's ended up.
I mean, when you're in college and your parents build a lake house, they don't call up and go, you got to pay taxes. You're in college.
Yeah.
These people are weird. Okay.
And not the good kind of weird.
I know. It's not a good Ramsey weird thing. So, I mean, no, we don't pay taxes on somebody else's lake house. And I don't know how this tradition started, but it's a weird tradition and it really needs to stop.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's not a tradition.
Okay.
No, it's a tradition for these people.
Yes.
And so they have some weird things they do, and we've just got to. But you can be gentle about it, okay?
Okay.
I'm being a little bit bombastic because it's a little bit absurd, and I want you to hear it's absurd. But you guys can be gentle about moving away from it. Mom and Dad, look, we're working hard on this stuff. We're trying to get ourselves out of debt, and it's your lake house, and I'm no longer comfortable paying the taxes on your lake house.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you know, I want to let you know that way in advance, so this fall when the taxes come due, you're not caught off guard. You know.
Is it part
Okay,
of you
great.
being able to go and hang out there several times a year? Is that what it is? Is it just the...
No, well, it shouldn't be.
Well, I didn't think so until I found out that was the expectation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the
But I
expectation.
didn't,
You
I
come
didn't
and
know
use
about
the
that
lake
until
house.
about a month ago.
You get to use the lake house twice a year, and in return, you pay how much? How much are the taxes?
I think my husband, when I looked it up on the county records, it said something like $4,000 for the year, and I think he paid like $300 or $400 last year.
Okay.
Yeah, do these people, they're not able to afford the lake house? Is that the problem?
Well, that's my. I told my husband, I was like, you know, if it's a lifestyle that they can't afford, then they shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
But and I try not to be critical, but when you dip your hands into our finances, then
Well, how
I
often
feel
do you
like I
go
have
to
a
the
little
lake
bit of the
house?
right to be critical.
Just you guys?
Maybe 5 weekends a year.
Yeah. If you know, if the deal is you don't get to go to the lake house because you're unwilling to pay $300 a year rent
Mm-hmm.
to use the family, in air quotes, lake house, then that's a decision you all can make. But basically,
Okay.
you're being asked to pay some of the expenses because you're using it as a rental.
Right.
And if you don't want to use it, then that's their decision might be that they don't want someone who's not willing to pay to come. And that would be okay.
Okay.
If that's how they want to do it. They're running an Airbnb for the family, I guess. I don't know. But a cheap one, but it's still
Yes.
that. But I've got a lake house, and I pay the taxes. Nobody else pays the taxes,
Yeah.
regardless of who visits.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
John Deloney was down there one time, and I didn't ask him for any rent. You know, so
Right.
you know, I mean, that's just you have guests at your lake house. If you do a deal up front, and the family is a
And
family
they understand
partnership
it, yeah.
to buy something, but you don't do that with a college student.
No, it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like they said, if you're going to
These
use our
people
house,
are
you're
very
going to give me some money.
intertwined, and they don't have good clear boundaries. And so it's time to untangle some of this. But now you need to be fair that if they may not, if you're not willing to chip in on the expenses, they may not want you to use it.
5 weekends is a lot to give up for $300. I might.
And that's a fair
Yeah.
expectation on their part. They may say, look, only those that chip in can use it.
Yeah, because then that's them saying, hey, while you're there, you're paying basically the utilities while you're there.
I don't think I could go there, but I mean, I do tell, you know, like whoever's down there next weekend when I'm not, fill the dadgum boat up with gas when
Yeah.
you leave. Hello.
Yeah,
You know, I do tell them to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
And
my
that's-
kids, I mean,
yeah.
my grown kids, that's such an oxymoron.
Adult
But
children.
The adult Ramseys. Yes. The Gen 2. Gen 2 can fill up the boat with
You
gas.
should leave the place better than you
But
left
by
it.
the way,
You
I
should.
don't also say you can't come back if you don't do that
That's true.
either. So,
That's true.
you know, storming and we forgot to do it. Whatever. Whatever. Wow. Some people's children. Create your free every dollar budget today. The simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
I have to warn you, if my husband comes home, I'm going to have to hang up real quick.
Why?
Well, that's kind of why I'm calling. My husband, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I was a doctor before that, but ever since having my kids a few years ago, I've just been staying home. And the deal was that I don't have to worry about money, and my husband will take care of everything, and he'll manage the big house and the cars and all that, and I just buy what I want when I want. I started to notice that my credit card bill was not getting paid off in full. I would say around September, October. This was the second time that had happened. And then the first time he paid it all off. And then this time it was not paid off. So I finally started asking him more questions. And I found out he has a lot more than I have of credit card debt. And he has car loans. And I just wasn't paying attention at all. And now we're basically in trouble with debt. And we're going to have to move to a smaller house. I don't know how we're going to pay for the kids.
So this
private
whole thing
school.
of you buy whatever you want didn't work.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at our pool right now, and it's a joke. It's all a joke.
Mm-hmm. How can we help?
Sorry. My question for you is I'm still kind of discovering what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I talk to him in a way that doesn't offend him or emasculate him or make him feel, because he, I think, feels like, that's why I was like, I'll have to hang up if he comes home from work, because he would it would kill him that I'm even asking you this, because he wants to be the man in charge.
Yeah.
Taking care of everyone.
Okay. Well, the proper man in charge shares the burden of running the household with his wife.
And he's such a wonderful father.
Stop. Just
and
stop.
husband.
There's
Just
nothing
stop.
manly
Just stop.
about secretly going into debt.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
That's not the man in charge. He's dealing with a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. He thought he was supposed to handle this all by himself, and he doesn't, and that's why he doesn't want to talk about it. But I think the two of you got to work. This is a relationship issue. The two of you have got to sit down together, and you just say, hey, look, I screwed up by dumping this whole thing on you because you did. Because you did. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can apologize for that and say, and so whatever the mess is, we're going to face it together. And whatever the mess is, as two adults, we're going to work together to get it fixed. So let me sit down and let's walk together, because I love you. You're my husband. We're going to walk together as two adults in full disclosure. You probably made some mistakes. I made a huge mistake by asking you. It wasn't right for me to ask you to carry the whole thing by yourself. And so I want to sit down. Now let's go forward, not backward. Let's go forward and say, how can we work together? And the first step of working together is for us to get everything out and put it on the table, put the kids to bed, and let's just look at it and let's figure out a game plan of how we clean up the mess. And I'm wherever that is. If we need to stay in a tent, I'm going with you.
Okay.
And so. And if I need to pick up some shifts or something, we'll do that. I mean, but let's sit down together and let's look at it together. And it's just it's not condemning his stupid decisions. He made some stupid decisions, but he also had, it's all clouded in this shame, and that's why he doesn't want to talk about it. He feels inept. He feels it's hurt his self-esteem, his confidence, and rightly so. That's how I felt. I felt like an idiot when I went broke.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of because I was. Hello? I wasn't an idiot, but I had done some idiot butt stuff that caused us to go broke, and it really wasn't Sharon's fault. But I felt, and she was scared to death like you are. That's why the tears are so close to the top. Because not knowing is more scary than knowing something hard.
Exactly. Yeah.
And tell him that.
Okay.
Not knowing is more scary to me than knowing something hard. And I'm worried about you, and I'm worried about us, and I want us to get on the same page and lock arms. I'm not here to beat you up. I made a mistake. You probably made some mistakes, but we can put all that in the rearview mirror, and let's just go how we can go forward.
Okay.
Does that sound clean?
You have no idea how helpful that is. I mean, or maybe you do. I feel like I don't even, oh my God.
Well, let me tell you, my
so
wife is a tough hillbilly woman, and she was so scared she couldn't breathe when we went through that.
That's what I feel like.
Yeah. Said she felt like she was driving a car and hit an ice thing, and the car's spinning, and she's going to hit something she just doesn't know what.
That's what I feel like.
Out of control.
And, yep.
Well, we want to help you take the next step, Jesse. We're going to gift you 1 year of Every Dollar Premium, and you and your husband are going to sit down, lay out all the debts, and if you're not even sure, go pull credit reports on both of you, find out everything on paper, then make that detailed budget with Every Dollar. List your income, list all of the expenses, all of the debts, and it's going to be scary at first, but then you're going to be able to make a plan together and go, how are we going to tackle this debt?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's a little bit like, one of my buddies got diagnosed with cancer the other day, and that just completely puts you, it knocks you out emotionally. And then, you know what's worse than that? It's like 3 weeks before they tell you anything else. Because they can't seem to get into 3 weeks of not knowing. If
the unknown is so much harder.
It's not knowing's harder. Just sign me up for the chemo. Sign me up for the plan. Let's just what's the plan? That's not as hard as not knowing. Create your free Every Dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Ruth joins us in Los Angeles, California. Ruth, how can we help?
Hi, I'm calling because I'm at a life stage where I've come through a lot of transition. My husband passed away 3 years ago, and what happened over the course of time is he passed away, and of course I took on our properties and that sort of thing. So I inherited wealth or took over the family business, that part of it. And I lost a lot, or actually like all family, friends, and I've had family try to sue me for part of his estate. And I'm in a place where I just need new friends, and I'm looking for people that have wealth and are interested in using it to reach out and make an impact and help others. But I don't know where to go for that sort of thing.
Wow. Well, first of all, you've been through a lot, and
yeah,
that's tough. And you do need those people, and you need friends. Did I hear you say you lost your friends?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I lost my best friend. She died the year before my husband died.
Okay.
So, but also what happened is all of a sudden friends expected me to give them money or make things, throw them parties, that sort of thing. It got weird.
Yeah, because they saw you come into a lot of wealth, and then they got real attached.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I literally had to cut basically everybody out.
Wow.
Well, sorry, Ruth.
I'm sorry you've been through that, and I will tell you, though, I think you do know where these people are. So you're in the Los Angeles area. You are still running the company, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't. It pretty much runs itself.
Right.
I'm basically retired. I don't really need to do very much.
It's not
and it was that
hands-on.
way before
Gotcha.
my husband
Okay.
passed as well. Exactly.
So first thing I want you doing is
I have something.
I'm sorry. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to start joining some social activities where quite frankly, let's just be really honest, where other wealthy women are going to be. Because now they don't need you for anything. And you're going to find some like-minded souls and people who understand you, and they're not, they're just friends with you. They just want to play tennis with you, or they want to play bunco, or
they don't want anything
They
from
don't
you.
want anything other than just, it's a social thing. So, I mean, this is as simple as, local country clubs and social clubs, and like, you got to get out and meet people. And the only way to meet people is to get in those places where those people are congregating. And there's nothing wrong with that. The old phrase, birds of a feather flock together. Well, where those people are flocking, yes or no?
Why would I be calling you if that was an
No,
obvious
but I think you're calling for ideas, which I'm giving you ideas, but where those people are. Where in the Los Angeles area do you live? Give me the neighborhood or the area of Los Angeles.
It's like Manhattan Beach.
Manhattan Beach. Okay, great. Lovely area. Okay. So are there country clubs in the Manhattan Beach area?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a big dollar thing.
I know. Hold on. We're brainstorming. All right. So it's not a country club.
But you live in a neighborhood, Ruth, right? It's got an HOA.
I live with HOA. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's Facebook groups probably in your community. There's probably multiple for different social groups. I mean, I'm in a small neighborhood, and we've got a ton of them. And so I would start connecting. Go to the HOA meetings just to meet people in the neighborhood, because likely they are in the same level of wealth in a general way as you. And then you start joining those Facebook groups and figure out what hobbies you want to connect with people over. Or do you have things that you like to do for fun?
Yeah, I mean, just like what you guys were saying in the break. I mean, I love reading, I love writing, I like hiking and that sort of thing. I have a disabled family member that lives with me. He's my son, and that limits the amount of time I have free to
go out,
engage. Yeah. So I do have but I still, even in the neighborhood, I run into situations where people are asking a lot of financial questions, and that's uncomfortable.
You mean like they're asking you for money?
No, they're asking me how much I sold my house for. They're asking me how much the repairs on my house are. I mean, I don't expect to be having those kind of conversations with people that are friends. It would be more like, how's your mom, or how was your trip, your vacation, or that sort of thing.
Well, again, I mean, I appreciate George jumping in, and I appreciate what you're saying, but you do know where wealthy people are spending time. You do. You simply do. I don't know Manhattan Beach like you know Manhattan Beach, But, in surrounding areas, I mean, you've got more hobbies than just reading and writing. Now, you are limited, and I think this is part of the problem, or I should say challenge, because of your son. I mean, that's a challenge for you. You just don't have a ton of time, so you've got to make the most of that time. And so whether it be book clubs in certain areas, but I mean, where are wealthy people that are successful, that again aren't clingy and aren't looking for anything from you other than just the enjoyment of relationship and a shared hobby or shared interest? That's what you've got to do. You make a list of your interests and where are people hanging out, and you're in a very wealthy area, so it's not going to be hard to run into those people, but it is going to be some intentionality, like George said, on certain maybe groups and talking around the neighborhood. And then, listen, it depends on how much of this, the rest of your life, this wants to be a big deal. You've got a lot of money. If you need to move to a better area, this is the stuff life is made of. You can't do this alone. You don't want to be alone. And you need this. And so you need to make moves to put yourself around those people. It's just you deciding. It's time.
And here's a challenge, Ruth. What if you started the book club and you posted in your neighborhood Facebook group and said, hey, I'm going to have people over once a week. Here's what we're doing. Let me know if you want to join. That happens all the time, and it's a great way. When you're the initiator, amazing things happen.
Yeah, I love that idea.
Okay.
So
All
just
right.
put yourself
Thank
out
you.
there. It's going to be a little scary. It's, as you get older, you're like less likely to want to put yourself out there. But, as you just go grocery shopping or where you're out and about, make conversation with people.
So the premise on the Ramsey Show is get out of debt and stay out of debt, because that way you have control of your life. Some stupid butt bank or car company doesn't have control of your life. And you have control of the most powerful wealth building tool that you could possibly have, and that's your income. When you give all your income to a stupid butt bank, you have no money, and you have couch payments, and you have cell phone payments, and you have car payments, and you have Sally Mae payments, and payments, and payments, and payments, and payments, and you work your butt off, and you get to the end of your life broke, and you say, gosh, I hope the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of me. This is not a plan, America. Instead, we teach you to actually get out of debt, quit worshiping at the altar of the great FICO, and that means that it changes what you use banks for. You know what I use banks for? Checking account. That's it. Got a debit card on it. Got several of them, several banks for that matter. A lot of money in banks, but for running this business and for running our real estate properties and for running our lives and so forth. But that's basically all a bank's good for. And guess what? When you start using a bank just for that, you realize how bad banks really suck, that they're absolutely the most horrendous industry when it comes to customer service. They treat you like garbage. They treat you like a name. And so we recommend small community banks, regional banks at the most, and or credit unions. We tell you to stay away from these behemoth banks because they're going to treat you like crap, and they don't care. If you work for Bank of America, you should get a good job. If you work for Wells Fargo, you should get a good job, working for a good company, not the one you're working for. They're awful. And here we go again, like the sixth time in 5 years or the fifth time in 6 years.
Yep.
Here we go again, George. Tell them what's happening
This
with
is
good old
from,
Wells Fargo right now.
From NPR, here's the headline. Wells Fargo to pay $3.7 billion settling charges it wrongfully seized homes and cars.
Billion!
Wow. With a B.
Billion!
It's 1,000 millions.
3.7 thousand million.
That's got to be pretty bad. So the CFPB, Consumer
they
Financial
didn't
Protection
just
Bureau.
accidentally do this once.
Wow.
Okay.
CFPB can do that. They just ordered them to pay billions in fines for this, and the Wells Fargo agreed to it, which means I'm guilty.
They did it, which means they did it.
Gosh.
They would not have agreed to it if they didn't do it.
Wow.
You don't pay $3.7 billion just to keep the CFPB happy. You go to court if you're right, but they're wrong. They did it, and the CFPB knocked them in the head. This is awesome.
So here's what happened. People had their cars wrongfully repossessed by Wells Fargo, and the bank took actions that resulted in borrowers wrongfully losing their homes, according to the order from the CFPB. Other customers were wrongly and improperly charged overdraft fees on their checking accounts. Yikes.
Wells Fargo's rinse and repeat cycle of violating the law has harmed millions More than one of American families, the CFPB director said. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Rohit Chopra? Maybe
Yeah.
that sounds right.
Chopra something, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty wild. And so
Under
Wells
the terms of the
Fargo,
order, Wells Fargo will pay $2 billion to millions of customers who were harmed, and the bank will pay a $1.7 billion fine.
This is wild. And it's weird that there's such repeat offenders. You'd think they'd learn their lesson after having to pay, which tells you how much money they are making off of you, America, if they've got just $4 billion laying around to pay fines and they just move on with their day. And they build big buildings downtown. They
you know what
sponsor
this is
stadiums.
called at Wells Fargo, don't you?
What's that?
Tuesday.
It's a drop in the bucket for these big banks.
Just another day at the bank.
And tomorrow you'll see their name on the newest stadium in your town. Going, well, how is this possible?
Yeah.
Because they're screwing everyone over with this kind of behavior.
The bank framed the settlement as a way to move forward and reform the company's scandal-ridden past.
Nothing says we're doing great and not guilty like we will continue paying billions of dollars to make ourselves look good. Goodness gracious. Okay. Well, if you bank with Wells Fargo, now's a good time to not bank with Wells Fargo. Time to look for a new bank.
What was the other one? It was Bank of America that actually foreclosed on a house that had no debt on it in Florida. They did that. So I always said, we've done research and 100% of the foreclosures occur on a home with a mortgage. That's actually not true. There was that one time at Bank of America foreclosed on a house that had no mortgage on it in Florida, and boy, did they get their butt sued off for that one. Oh God! But these guys are they're like big tech, big fintech here. Is if you're Google, if you're Apple, you're larger economically than most countries, so you're somewhat insulated. If you're Wells Fargo, you're somewhat insulated. They had a thing that was it 24,000 employees. You'll have to look that old article up. That's like 4 years ago. 24,000 employees had falsely opened accounts in the customers' names, if I remember the story correct. So these are bankers trying to hit their quota and get their sales bonuses, because that's really all a banker is now, is a bad salesman. And in order to hit their branch quotas, 24,000 different employees had falsely opened accounts in order to hit. I may be a little bit off on the year or whatever, but I'm not off on the idea. The concept happened. And
it's one way to do it.
That was also Wells Fargo. That's part of their scandal-ridden past. You guys.
How do you survive how do you still have customers after all this and people still go there and sign up for an account today?
Well,
knowing all of this,
there's a couple of ways to grow a business. One way you grow a business is you do a great job serving, and you get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You do a great job at your restaurant, and somebody wants you to open another one, and somebody wants you to open another one, and your sub sandwiches are good, and so then later on you're Jimmy John's, right? And so you do a good job, which Jimmy John's does a good job, right? So they're franchised. So you serve the customer, and you get big to scale because you just keep doing the right thing a lot. The other way you can grow a business, which is the way this one was grown, is you buy up all the competitors. You take all your profits and keep buying all the competitors, and you take your stinky, horrible systems and integrate them into every bank you bought. And then you did it, and so what you're doing now is screwing people with scale. And that's what these guys are. They're just, guys, if it happened a couple of times in a company the size of Wells Fargo, you would go, well, it's a huge company. Of course they're going to have a couple of bad actors. This was millions of you that are customers. Millions of customers were harmed. How do you do that and even stay open? Well, because you people keep going over there and running your dadgum checking account because you think the little stagecoach is in your favor.
They got that old-timey little logo. Makes you think
I got
they have
your
integrity.
old-timey logo. Millions!
You're not going to fool me with the Oregon Trail. Those people died of dysentery, okay? We know how that ended.
George,
don't bank with these people.
You are officially old. No one knows what the Oregon Trail is.
Oh, my. I'm trying to teach the young folks out there, Dave.
Oregon Trail.
I had to throw it in
You
there.
must have been 4 when that was out.
Yeah, just about 4.
Yeah.
Good memory.
Computers were new. Well,
Well, the good news is, America, you have a choice with where you bank. And I know it's a hassle to go like switch a checking account, but if it means staying away from companies like this that treat you like this, it is worth an hour or two of your time.
I just don't grasp why anyone still has an account at Wells Fargo or Bank of America.
The only thing I can think of is if you got a mortgage and it gets sold to a different lender and it ends
I'm
up with
talking
Wells
about your
Fargo.
accounts. Your banking is there.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
And you know,
do better.
My car did not get repoed. I was not one of the millions.
Wow. Well, it's because you own it.
It's because I don't have anything to do with these idiots.